Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Welcome to Foster to Foster, and now here's your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil.
Good morning and welcome to Foster Radio Show. As we dawn upon a new year, upon 2017, we're here today to talk about a very controversial subject. Usually when you talk about money with your family, with your friends, everybody gets a little tight in the room. Everybody gets a little uptight. But especially in foster care, when we talk about the money that is earned by foster parents or group homes, it's a little controversial. So today I wanted to talk about the profitize or profitization of foster care. I want to talk about this in a very structured way, and I want to hear from the mouth or from the lips of a foster child. So when we talk about, do foster parents make money from being a foster parent off of foster children? Has there been abuse of that in our system? And what's the result of that? So today we're going to talk about a tough subject. And you might ask, well, Dr. McNeil, why would you choose to talk about that on New Year's Eve? Because tomorrow, yes, as of January 1st, 2017, the state of California will effectuate our new law called the Continuous Care Reform. And so on the eve of that law starting, we're going to talk about it here on Foster to Foster Radio Show. So now let's dive in. Let's talk about what we know to be true. What we know to be true here in the state of California is that we have 65,000 foster youth. Of the 65,000 foster youth right here in my community in Los Angeles County, there are 33,000 foster youth right here in LA County. Right in my surrounding area, when you look at San Bernardino, Riverside, San Diego, Ventura County, we comprise more than 3/4 of all foster children in the state of California. So with that being said, in my neighborhood, in my community, where we service the most foster children here in the state, we need to talk about, can you make a profit or do you make a profit from being a foster parent? So I wanted to look at a little bit of the information about, well, what do foster parents make? And if you simply go to childsworld.california.gov, and it will show you the rate of pay for a foster parent here in the state of California. When you go to that site, it says that a basic rate is $688 for a child who's 0 to 4 years old. For a child who's 5 to 8, the basic rate is $744. For a 9-year-old to 11-year-old, the basic rate is $783. For a 12-year-old to a 14-year-old, the basic rate is $820. For a 15-year-old to a 21-year-old, the basic rate is $859. When you go beyond the foster family agency rate schedule, that's where we are on childworld.california.gov. You will see that there's not only just the basic rate, but you can see child increments, the price that's paid for social work, and the price that's paid for administrative work there for group homes. It's all spelled out and it's all public information. Not only did I look up what our group homes paid, but I also looked at, foster homes paid. That was the foster family agency rate schedule. I also, on that very same rate website, went to group home standard schedule of rates. And so if a foster child lives in a group home, it goes from anywhere from $688 up to $859. But if you live in a group home, that rate then jumps to, for a level 1 group home, $2,457. A level 2 group home is $3,069. Level 2 group home is $3,069. A level 3 group home is $3,681. And it goes to the dollar amount of level 4, 5. Level 6 is $5,513. Level 8 is $6,738. And we already talked about this on one of my earlier shows, which is the highest level of care, a level 14 group home. For a level 14 group home, it's $10,410 a month for a foster child. And I wish my studio audience could see my studio guest, Leonardo Jimenez. If you could see his face as I say these rates of pay, you would see that he is absolutely astonished at this rate of pay for a foster child. So the onus of this show is to talk about, do foster parents make money? And so I want to start with what I know to be true. What I know to be true is, in our society, in our world, we do have some foster parents that really do want to take care of foster youth. So I don't want this to be a one-sided conversation. I really want to have a balanced conversation with you this morning. That I'm fully aware that there are some foster parents that do really just want to take care of a foster child. They really want to provide a safe and nurturing place for them to grow up. However, I also know this to be true after being in the foster care system and working with foster youth for so many years, that there are many foster parents that are in the business of foster care. And they will tell you that from their own lips. I'm in the foster care business. So when you say that, you're in business to make money. I even say that as a college professor. When I teach business to my college students, I say the only difference between a business and a good idea is that the business is actually making money. So if that is the case, if a business is only defined by some entity that is making money, when you say that you are in the foster care business, you're in the business of making money for the simple care of a foster child. So let's talk about some of the myths. And this is the part that, as a former foster child and working as a CASA and working as a ed rights holder for foster youth, this is something that really, it really stirs me up on the inside. And I went to a lot of the videos that are on YouTube. Being a foster parent is a job, or do foster parents make money from foster youth? And one of the videos talked about the myth that foster parents actually make money. It is not a myth. You can go to any state website and you can look up in all 50 states the exact amount that a foster parent gets paid to take care of a foster child. So when a foster parent says to me, oh, it's a myth that we make money from taking care of a foster child, it's not a myth. It's actually a fact. In the state of California, if you go to our state website, if you go to childsworld.california.gov, you will see all of the rates from a group home to a foster home in which they are paid. So this is not a myth. So now let's drill down a little bit, because we don't want to just talk about it on the surface. So if it's not a myth that you're getting paid, then is it a myth that you're making money? What we know to be true is that the state asked foster parents to be able to take care of themselves, meaning that you need to have enough money to take care of your household, all of your bills, and everything else, so that the money that you receive for a foster child is money so that you can care for the child. Now, we're going to get to that opportune word, care for, a little bit later in our show. So if that money indeed is provided to you to care for the child, then why do so many foster children come out of our foster care system feeling like they were uncared for? We're going to get to that. I'm not going to leave it alone. Remember, this morning is about controversy. So if you didn't have your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, and talking about money in foster care makes you a little bit quizzy on the inside, go grab that cup of coffee, go grab that cup of tea, because we're going to talk about it this morning. We're going to get to the heart of why do these children, why in society do we see it happening and we let it happen? We can do better. We can do better. So in our state, and not just in our state, this actually was a federal mandate. And so I want to give a little bit of history on the Family First Act that came out of our Senate. The Family First Act was proposed. It draws the prevention for foster kids. So what this act is trying to do is providing states for the first time ever access to Title 4E funds. That's additional funds from our federal government to every state so that they can invest in a range of services for children and families, including prevention and family services. This is the first time ever that this bill will enhance federal resources available under Title 4 Part B to strengthen support for kinship families. So let me start by defining a little bit there. What is a kinship family? So if you're in foster care, if you go before children's court and your grandmother, your aunt, a cousin, or someone can care for you, in previous history, like when my grandmother cared for me many, many years ago, in previous histories, relative care or kinship care did not receive any funds to care for foster youth. But now today, because of this new legislation, they do receive some funding. But relative care funding is far less than what a foster parent makes and far less than what a group home makes to care for the same child. But this act, the Family First Act, is the first act ever to give our kinship care, our relative caregivers, some monies to care for the child. And it says, more importantly, this reinforcing existing laws' goals of placing children in foster care in the least restrictive setting to have their appropriate needs met. And what this act says is that one of the least restrictive is in a family home setting, a foster home, then a group home, and then a more restricted home. It says the legislation draws on child development research and best practices by including provisions to better ensure children, youth, and families that they receive trauma-informed services, and that child welfare staff and providers are well trained to support the unique needs of families. And then I want to highlight this next point. The Family First Act also provides critical reforms to ensure that children are not unnecessarily placed in restrictive settings, but rather in the care of families when possible. It would target federal dollars to smaller family foster homes and other specialized care settings for pregnant and parenting teens or older youth in independent living settings. So this act, and this is the reason why we're reforming here in the state of California, this federal law is requiring for us to reduce the number of group homes and go to many more foster families or a family-like setting. So, do foster parents make money by taking care of foster youth? When we return from this commercial break, we're going to hear from a foster child that will not only tell us about his experience in foster care in 21 different settings, but he's also going to tell us about the experience of foster parents making money from taking care of foster youth. My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. I do the work, and I tell the stories of foster youth. We'll be back after this commercial break. The Unstoppable Awards is a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to foster youth. If you are a foster youth graduating from high school and live in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino County, we'd like to offer a scholarship to you if you have a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA, you've overcome some significant challenges, and you've been accepted to a college, university, or trade school. Please visit our website at www.unstoppableawards.org or call our office at 213-634-0044. We'd like to help you. We'd like to make you unstoppable. Education Works Consulting Firm provides foster youth education services. We work to make sure that every foster youth has a chance by providing a way through education. Please visit us at edworks4u.org or call our offices at 213-634-0044. Education works for all of us. Right Way Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports transition-age foster youth throughout the Los Angeles County. Our goal is to reduce the homelessness and unemployment rates and to increase the high school graduation and college enrollment rates. We do this by providing individual case management and mental health services to each participant to increase their self-sufficiency. To get involved, please visit our website at www.therightwayfoundation.org or call our office at 323-903-5021. Are you a foster youth who has overcome significant challenges, graduating from high school with a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA, and have been accepted to trade school, college, or university? We would like to make you unstoppable. Please apply for the 2017 Unstoppable Scholarship Award at www.unstoppableawards.org. The Unstoppable Award scholarship applications are available as of January 1st, 2017, and your application deadline is Saturday, April 15, 2017. Let us help make you unstoppable. Please apply for the scholarship opportunity today at www.unstoppableawards.org. And in the words of my grandmother, remember, ain't nobody stopping you. We're back to Foster to Foster with your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil. Welcome back to Foster Radio Show, and I'm so pleased to be in the studio this morning with my studio guest, Mr. Leonardo. We call him Leo Jimenez. Good morning, Leo. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well. Welcome to Foster Radio Show. Leo, can you tell our studio audience a little bit, how did you and I meet?
We met, I think, about ending of November before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You came to West Los Angeles College, where I'm currently studying and majoring in communications and Afro-American studies.
Mm-hmm.
You came to talk about
I came to your college to ask you all one question. And what's that one question?
If we had an hour on a radio show, what would we talk about?
Yes. And now you're here.
Yes.
For that 1 hour on the radio show.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yes. And when I met you, Leo, this show is for you today. And when I met you, I promised you, I said, Leo, I'm going to do a show about that. And when I met you, you said, if I had 1 hour on the radio, Dr. McNeil, I would want to tell the world I'm a D-rate child. And so what does that mean, Leo? Inform for our audience who doesn't really know the rating schedule in foster care. When you say you're a D-rate child, those foster rates that I just quoted don't apply to you. That means that the foster parent was getting way more than $859 a month. So tell us, in your mind, why did you say I'm a D-rate child?
Growing up in 21 foster homes and one group home, that's what it was always. That's what I was called. Not called, but as in talking to my social worker on my way to a new foster home. She would be like, "This is a D-Ray home." Growing up, I didn't know what that meant until I hit teenage years, and I was like, "What's a D-Ray home?" She's like, "This is where you'll get more attention." Because they said I had behavior issues and I needed 24/7 care and attention.
Okay. How did that make you feel, just having that label before you, that you're a D-rate child?
It felt I felt put out. I felt that I was only allowed in a certain environment because that was the only type of foster homes I was allowed in.
Okay.
And growing up, I didn't have the best behavior, problems. So it was very hard for them to find somewhere to put me.
Okay. Okay. So I want to talk to you a little bit. You said something that's startling, and I don't want to just skip over it. You said you were in 21 foster homes and one group home. At what age did you go into the foster care
I
system?
was 3 days old.
You were 3 days old. So you grew up in this system.
My whole life.
So talk to me about it, Leo. What was the 21 group homes like? 21 foster homes like?
They were very interesting. Interesting. It's like a roller coaster. I can describe my 21 foster homes. It's like a roller coaster. They were all, in my opinion, they were the same, except one out of those 21 foster homes I felt welcomed.
Okay. So let's talk about, you said 1 out of 21 foster homes. So let's talk about the 20 foster homes. What was that like?
Scary.
Scary. How so?
Just thinking about it right now, just
Describe it for our audience, because this is radio, so they need to hear the words, Leo. Describe it for us. When you say scary, what made it scary?
not being able to sleep at night, knowing that I wasn't safe where I was laying my head at. I was in a specific foster home for 7 years, from the ages 7 to 14. I was in elementary school. It was the worst foster home that I've ever been in.
What happened there?
I was 7 years old when I went into that home. I had a very welcome into the home. So I was like, okay, it's not bad. As the years went by, it turned left. I was getting abused. I was getting neglected. I would get woken up at 2 in the morning, was abused and thrown outside in the backyard with the dog. Didn't really have a full course meal unless I was at school.
So, wait a minute, Leo. You and I both come to the foster care system from being abused and neglected by our parents. So then we take you away from your parents and we put you in a home that abused and neglected you. Did your social worker come to that home?
At that time, my social worker would only really do phone calls. It was very rare for her to come to the home and do a visit. So every time she would call, she would be calling my foster mom's phone, put her on mute. Foster mom would turn around and be like, this is what you say, and that's all you say. I was a little kid. I didn't know what the things they were doing to me at home was not okay. I didn't know where I was going to go after that if I opened my mouth. To this day, the social worker doesn't even know what was going on in that home. No foster person knows what was really going on in that home.
Wow.
For 7 years, I had to deal with, I have scars on my body from that home.
Wow, Leo. What an atrocity. And I say an atrocity that you lived through for 7 years. And that was your worst foster home.
Worst one.
So you say the others, the 19 others, were also scary.
They were scary, but they weren't as bad
as
that one.
Exactly, as being neglected and abused and malnourished all in one group home.
The other ones were just like, verbal abuse. Just like, you're not going to be nothing. You're going to be just like every other foster kid, drugged up, dead somewhere.
Wow. And was your social worker, was anybody aware that they talked to you that way?
Nobody is aware.
One thing that I heard constantly as a CASA, a court-appointed special advocate in children's court, I was a CASA for many years, Leo. And one thing that I would hear from my CASA child is, watch, Miss Anissa. When you come, they're going to put on the show for you. And I would go, what show? Mm-hmm. And they would go, watch. When you're here, they're going to put on a show. Did you experience that? And so let me explain to the listening audience what the show is. When I would show up as a CASA, the foster parent, the group home, they would act one way because they knew that I was the CASA. They would be, oh, yes, this is happening. And how wonderful. And we're going to the zoo and we're da-da-da-da-da. And I would go talk to my foster kid, and my foster kid was like, I don't go anywhere unless you take me. Mm-hmm. I don't go on outings. I don't go to the zoo. I don't go anywhere unless you take me. So did you experience that? A little bit of the show, what they call, they're going to put on a performance for you. They're going to put on the show.
Many times. Especially that one home I was in for 7 years. Ooh, they knew how to
work the system. Okay. So I want to talk. So, wow, Leo, that's a horrific experience in foster care. And you said that was the scary, pretty much described 20 foster homes that you were in. Tell us about the one that's so different than that.
That one is my favorite. That one home, I was an 8th grader. I was about 14. It was in Lancaster. This African-American woman, first African-American house I've ever went into. I went into her home with one specific black garbage bag. Are you familiar with the black trash bag story?
Yes, I have done a show on foster children moving in trash bags, and I've gotten a little heat on Facebook from some of my social work friends that said, no, they don't move in trash bags. And I say, I've been working with foster children, and I talk to foster children all over our state, and they tell me that, yes, they move in trash bags. So you heard it from the mouth of a foster youth that is currently in the system. So, yes, I've done that show, Leo. Thank you.
I went into her home that same day. Her name is Marilyn Johnson. That will forever be the first woman I love. That's my mom, my rock. That's everything. I went into her home. I was 14. I was an 8th grader. Went in with one bag. She's like, that's all you have? I was like, yes. She's like, how many outfits are in there? I was like, it's 5 outfits and 2 pajamas. She's like, how long have you had them? I've had this clothes for about 2 years now. Mind this, we get clothing allowance. I never saw one of those.
You never saw. So here in the state of California, a foster child will get 2 clothing allowances a year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your social worker brings the money to your foster parent, and they're supposed to take you shopping, and you're supposed to get clothes from that. So let me be clear to our listening audience. So in addition to getting money every month to care for the child, a foster parent then gets 2 supplemental pays to buy a foster child clothes every year. Did you receive that money, Leo?
I did not receive that money until I hit that first grade foster home. That was 14 years later.
14 years later. When we come back from this brief commercial break, Leo, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your experience living with Ms. Johnson, and then a little bit about your experience living in a group home. I want to also ask you, did you feel that you were a D-rate child? Did foster parents make money from taking care of foster youth? We're going to drill down to a very uncomfortable topic today, but we're going to hear it from the mouth of a current foster youth. My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. I do the work. and I tell the stories of foster youth. Be sure to subscribe to our Foster to Foster radio show on YouTube. If you're interested and you want to join Leo and I in this conversation, call us at 323-284-7826. Are you a foster youth who has overcome significant challenges, graduating from high school with a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA, and have been accepted to trade school, college, or university? We would like to make you unstoppable. Please apply for the 2017 Unstoppable Scholarship Award at www.unstoppableawards.org. The Unstoppable Award scholarship applications are available as of January 1st, 2017, and your application deadline is Saturday, April 15, 2017. Let us help make you unstoppable. Please apply for the scholarship opportunity today at www.unstoppableawards.org. And in the words of my grandmother, remember, ain't nobody stopping you. Right Way Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports transition-age foster youth throughout the Los Angeles County. Our goal is to reduce the homelessness and unemployment rates and to increase the high school graduation and college enrollment rates. We do this by providing individual case management and mental health services to each participant to increase their self-sufficiency. To get involved, please visit our website at www.therightwayfoundation.org or call our office at 323-903-5021. Education Works Consulting Firm provides foster youth education services. We work to make sure that every foster youth has a chance by providing a way through education. Please visit us at edworks4u.org or call our offices at 213-634-0044. Education works for all of us. The Unstoppable Awards is a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to foster youth. If you are a foster youth graduating from high school and live in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino County, we'd like to offer a scholarship to you if you have a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA. You've overcome some significant challenges and you've been accepted to a college, university, or trade school. Please visit our website at www.unstoppableawards.org or call our office at 213-634-0044. We'd like to help you. We'd like to make you unstoppable. We're back to Foster with your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil. Welcome back, and I'm here in the studio with my guest this morning, Mr. Leonardo Jimenez, and we call him Leo. Leo, you were telling us about your experience in foster care, and you can see some tears well up in my eyes during the break as you described your experience in one of your foster homes. But when we left off, you were telling us about Miss Johnson. Out of the 20, there was one. You went to 20 foster homes, but 21 in total. And there was one foster home that was different. Tell us about your experience with Miss Johnson that was different.
One word to describe would be welcomed. As a foster child, you want to go into a foster home feeling welcomed and wanted in that home. As a foster child, you want to be loved, you want to be accepted, you want to be a part of a family.
And that's how you felt there?
I felt welcomed. I felt a part of the family. I was actually her first foster boy.
Okay.
She had always had girls. I was the first one. That first day I moved in, she took me shopping, get me a whole wardrobe of clothes. I will never forget this day, but as we got home and I'm walking up the stairs to my own room, I looked to her and I asked her, "Can I call you Mom?" She gave me that look of, like she wasn't
Sure.
expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
She looked at me and she's like, yes. 8 years later, I've never called her by her first name. That's always been my mom.
Wow.
I got kicked out of her house 3 times, but never burned my bridges with her. I felt that's my family. Her kids, they're my brothers and sisters. I feel welcomed. They call me brother. She calls me son.
Awesome. And are you still in contact with her today?
Yes, I just spent Christmas with them.
Awesome. Awesome. 20 foster homes. One Miss Johnson, who you still call mom to this day.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience in a group home. So you were in 21 foster homes and 1 group home. Tell us about your experience in a group home.
Different. It was very different from a foster home. I was 15 and a half when I went into my first group home. It was called Leroy Haynes. It's
Okay.
in Laverne. I was 15 and a half. I had just lost my brother to cancer. So I had like a whole life changer of
Okay.
starting to have behavior problems and all that. They couldn't find a foster home, so they put me in a group home. At first, I thought it was the worst thing they've ever could have done. So I was having problems. I was about to get kicked out, put into a level 14.
Okay.
For me personally, it was a good and bad experience. It was a good experience because I've learned a lot from them. I turned my life around when I was in that group home. But the bad experience was living with 72 other people in that group home.
72 other people.
12 males to each home. There's 6 homes.
6 homes. Wow. So Leo, you've had a vast experience in foster care, growing up in foster care. Why, when I met you, why did you say, I'm a D-rate child?
Because I felt like that was the name given to me. Only being allowed in D-rate homes, I felt very put to the side. Because I wasn't allowed in a regular home, like they say. I needed more attention.
Okay. Did you ever feel like any of your foster parents were in it for the money? Like they took you because you were a D-rate child?
Oh, yes. They get way more money. They get about more than $1,200 a month just for being a D-rate child,
Okay.
for having behavior problems.
So when I was talking to your group at your college, at West LA Community College, more than half of the group explained to me, Dr. McNeil, growing up, the hardest thing to get as a foster child is a pair of shoes. Like I can remember struggling to get a pair of shoes. So I don't understand it. How can a foster parent make that kind of money every month? Over $1,000 for a D-rate child. But more than half of your group said to me, you all had difficulty getting a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
What happened with the clothing allowance? And that, America, when you hear him say yes, that, America, that is where the profitizing of foster care comes in. When foster parents say we don't make money off of these children, where did that money go? If the state is paying that rate of pay to a foster parent to care for the children, where is the care for? How come you can go into a group of foster children and have a conversation and more than half of them will tell you, we had difficulties getting shoes. Dr. McNeil, the one thing that I wanted was a good pair of shoes. It just can't be so. We can do better. And so when I heard that, Leo, it made me think. I did a little research, and I wanted to say, this is happening right in our community. How often do we get to see foster youth being neglected or mistreated right here in our community? And so, like most of America, not only did I do my research in an empirical sense as a doctor, but I also went to YouTube and I found this video. It's called Foster Care Cruelty. What would you do? And this video shows there are three actors, thank God. One is a mother, another actor is playing the role of the daughter, a biological daughter, and one person is playing the role of a foster youth, and he's a male. And they're seated in a restaurant there, in a public restaurant, and this is a show on ABC called What Would You Do? And they're showing in this clip that we're going to see, the foster parent is berating the foster child, and the other patrons in the restaurant are watching. Let's take a look at this clip.
People feel it's just not their place to get involved.
The only reason that we even agreed to have you as a foster kid is because we need extra money.
And others tell us our mom didn't cross the line.
As long as she wasn't touching them or hitting them, there's nothing really I can do.
Everyone control their own kids their own way, and that don't mean you get involved. As long as you don't see any kind of physical abuse, then you know that's how they handle their children. That's their children,
Now Caleb.
You can see there, Leo, that she's berating him in the middle of a restaurant, and some of the patrons there just say, hey, that's just how they get treated. That's your child. That's how you treat them. That's how you treat them. That was a random restaurant where this guy, he does a show called What Would You Do? He staged this to see if anyone would say anything about the care of foster youth. If you continue to watch that video, you will see 3 other patrons that did come up and say something to the foster mom. But it was really interesting to me as a researcher that as many people that the 3 people that did walk up to the mom and say something to the mom, many more people just sat in the restaurant and watched it happen. And that makes me think of this question. When we know that foster parents in our community are housing foster, and you hear me say the word housing foster children so that they can get paid, then what do we as a community do about that? So I started to research a little bit more. Are we able to audit foster homes or group homes? And how often are they audited? There is an audit form. If you go to our governmental website, if you go to childsworld.california.gov, there is an audit form that you can use for a group home. But there's no information on how often group homes or foster homes are audited. Do they show receipts for what they get paid? And I wanted to drill down not only an audit, but if we just look at the rate of pay, how much money is being given to foster parents, and it's supposedly for the reimbursement of taking care of the child. But any child that goes to school, do we deduct money for the hours that they are in school? Is the money deducted for the hours that they are asleep? So if this foster parent, let's say in your case, Leo, where the foster parent was getting $1,000, $1,200 a month, when you went to school and they were getting reimbursed for care, how come they didn't spend that money on shoes for you? You were already at school. And you just stated to our audience that the only time you got a real meal is when you were at school. Do we ever audit our foster homes, our group homes, to see what type of food the foster youth is actually eating? You're not the first foster child to tell me that you never ate a real meal. I gave a scholarship to Kelly to go to Humboldt State, and she told me as she grew up, she ate frozen chicken nuggets.
Oh, Humboldt.
All the time she was in foster care. So that's why we asked.
My signature dish that I was allowed to eat Monday through Friday at that one scary foster home was spinach soup.
Spinach
while
soup.
everybody else had a full course meal.
Wow. Spinach soup, $1,200 a month, and he got spinach soup 5 days out the week. Do foster parents make money for caring for foster youth? Leo and I are going to finish this conversation when we come back from our radio break. If you like what you hear and you want to know more about foster youth and you want to hear it from them, subscribe to our show on YouTube. Join in at our conversation and call us at 323-284-7826. My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. I do the work and I tell the stories of foster youth. Are you a foster youth who has overcome significant challenges, graduating from high school with a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA, and have been accepted to trade school, college, or university? We would like to make you unstoppable. Please apply for the 2017 Unstoppable Scholarship Award at www.unstoppableawards.org. The Unstoppable Award scholarship applications are available as of January 1st, 2017, and your application deadline is Saturday, April 15, 2017. Let us help make you unstoppable. Please apply for the scholarship opportunity today at www.unstoppableawards.org. And in the words of my grandmother, remember, ain't nobody stopping you. The Unstoppable Awards is a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to foster youth. If you are a foster youth graduating from high school and live in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino County, we'd like to offer a scholarship to you if you have a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA. You've overcome some significant challenges and you've been accepted to a college, university, or trade school. Please visit our website at www.unstoppableawards.org or call our office at 213-634-0044. We'd like to help you. We'd like to make you unstoppable. Education Works Consulting Firm provides foster youth education services. We work to make sure that every foster youth has a chance by providing a way through education. Please visit us at edworks4u.org or call our offices at 213-634-0044. Education works for all of us. Right Way Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports transition-age foster youth throughout the Los Angeles County. Our goal is to reduce the homelessness and unemployment rates and to increase the high school graduation and college enrollment rates. We do this by providing individual case management and mental health services to each participant to increase their self-sufficiency. To get involved, please visit our website at www.therightwayfoundation.org or call our office at 323-903-5021. We're back to Foster to Foster with your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil. So as we end our show today, Leo, we have to ask ourselves a couple of questions here. I'm so pleased that you were here with me today. But as California, starting tomorrow, starting January 1st, 2017, we're going to have a continuous care reform. And so there are some questions that I have in regards to that. Will the new reform change the profitization of foster care? Do we have enough audits or safeguards in our system so we won't have the number of foster parents just getting in this to be in the business of foster care? And then how will the new reform change the perception that if you can't make money on your own, go get you a foster child? You know, that's the word on the street. You can't get money, go get you a foster child. You can make money.
6 classes.
So how do we change that? Will this improve the experience of foster children in our state? So now that we're going to reform care, will it improve your experience? The hope is that when a person like me walks into a room of current foster youth, that we won't hear, Dr. McNeil, I struggled to get a pair of shoes. If we're going to spend millions of dollars reforming care, Leo, will it improve the experience of a foster youth? I have to tell you, Leo, your story, it moves me. It makes me want to do what I do on this radio show every day of the week. If there is a foster child that is going through what you went through for 7 years, what would you say to that child?
Know your rights.
What do you mean by know your rights?
There's a list of rights as a foster child that you are entitled to.
Yes.
I don't know how many there are on the list, but I know that you, as foster youth, have our own set of
Rights.
rights.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There's a rights. If you go to Know Before You Go, there's a list of rights and services. Also, there's an organization called the Children's Alliance. They uphold the legal rights of foster youth. And if you are a foster child and you are in a home and you are being abused, you can call the 1-800 Child Abuse line. If you are like Leo and you are in a home for 7 years and you are being emotionally and physically abused, you can call that number. You can also report it to your social worker, report it to your lawyer, report it to anybody that will hear you. And it's important that they know that. Yes, Leo.
Don't be scared. That's the main advice I can give a foster child that is going through something similar to my case. Don't be scared. I was scared for 7 years and dealt with all that. It put me down for, many years, but where I am now is where I wanted to be.
Okay.
And all I see is what happened to me in my past. It wasn't okay, but it made me the person I am today.
Absolutely. And when I hear you say, don't be scared, Leo, it reminds me of that feeling that each of us have as foster children. When you have nowhere else to go,
But a stranger's house.
but a stranger's house. If you say something about this house, where would you go?
Where would you go?
Right. And the atrocity of all of this, even in my role as an ed rights holder, I've had a social worker say that to me because a foster child was being denied the opportunity to go to tutoring. The foster parent said, well, they got to leave my house. I'm not taking them.
I wasn't allowed to do nothing after school. It was go to school and come right home.
Right. And that's the fear, because I heard from a social worker, if this kid gets put out of this house, they'll go to a shelter. And look right at the kid. Where would you go? You have nowhere to go.
Right.
And so when Leo says, hear that fear, don't be scared, that's a real fear. Where would you go?
And it's sad for us foster youth to feel scared when these homes, these foster homes, these families that sign up to be foster parents, they're supposed to take that fearness away from us. They're supposed to make us feel welcomed and loved, but it's the opposite. It's not may. It is worse than from where you took them away from your parents.
It's triple.
It's worse.
Yes,
it's
more
triple
abuse.
worse. There's more abuse than what was really going on in these kids' lives in their parents' home. And it's sad to say that there are foster parents that take these 6 classes and treat us foster youth like we're nothing, like we're a piece of garbage.
Right. So you heard it from Leo's mouth. He's currently in the foster care system. I encourage you, if you are in our community, if you are in the United States and you see a foster child that's being berated in a restaurant, neglected, or you know someone in your community that just has foster children to get a check, we can do better than that, America. We can do better by our children. One day, these young people are going to guide our country. And don't they deserve the opportunity to be loved and cared for as children. So we've demystified this myth that foster parents don't make money from taking care of foster kids. We already know that that's the case to be true. We already know from hearing the words of our foster youth that they're not being well cared for in some foster homes and group homes. We know that to be true. So if that is the case, what are we going to do with this new law to ensure that Leo's story is not another child's story? That is what I ask of us here in my community in Los Angeles County. Let us all surround our foster youth and let's help the system do better. My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. I do the work and I tell the stories of foster youth. You're listening to Foster to Foster Radio Show. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube.